So lots of students and just people in general tend to think that economists are off the mark. You know, the first objection that we get a lot is that people, firms, and society don't actually act in a way that fits economic ways of thinking. Oh, thank you. Approach. The economic approach. People, firms, and society do not act in a way that fits economic way of thinking. To which the book and myself says, sometimes yes, but on the whole, it is reasonable at first approximation, at least, to analyze them with economic tools. You know, we would argue that a lot of those things are exceptions to the rule, that, you know, the tools of economic analysis can still help, even though there are some deviations, right? You know, for instance, you know, workers are not entirely rational in the way that we think they are, right? And they don't save money like they should for retirement. That's just like a general rule that we found, right? And that's part of the reason why, you know, a lot of advanced countries have these large safety nets, right? There's Social Security here in the United States. That's also part of the reason why they changed in a lot of states from having your 401k contributions be opt-in to being opt-out. Because that tiny thing, that tiny little, you know, just having it automatically there and having to make you take an action to opt out of those contributions has positively impacted the retirement savings of the most recent generation. So while this is correct, the economic tools may end up helping to find some solutions for the ways in which people don't act. And really, we're going to address this in greater detail come on now, give me a D, give me an S, give me an addressed on a chapter that's called Consumer Choices. So we are going to be talking about that in greater detail later. The second big you know, problem that people have with economics, especially psychologists, right? Psychologists, you know, tend to think that economists' version of, you know, the Homo economicus is a sociopath. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, people shouldn't act this way. So that's the second objection. Come on, computer, stop it. Come on. It's getting worse the longer we go, huh? I need to like clear the cache or something. Should not act this way. So yes, the economics approach portrays people as self-interested. which, is not ideal. But economics is not a form of moral instruction, right? We are seeking to describe economic behavior as it actually exists. And so in economics, what we do is we split things into positive statements and normative statements. So let's get some definitions in here. So when we talk about positive statements, these are describing the world as it is. Right? The unemployment rate is 3.5%. Inflation is 4.8%. The amount of economic activity that happened in the oil and gas sector was $3 billion, right? Those are all positive statements. What we try to do, different economists at varying levels of success, is we try to avoid making what are called normative statements. Normative statements describe how the world should be. So these are all subjective and opinionated. They're matters of opinion. So a normative statement would be there's way too much revenue in the oil and gas industry, or unemployment is too high, or inflation is too high. So those are all normative statements. And lastly, this will sing to some of your libertarian hearts out there, if there are any. It talks about how people's freedom to make their own economic choices has a moral value that's worth respecting. Which, yeah, I'd agree. Some other comments on that. So one of the things that Adam Smith, right, we're going to talk about him a lot. He's like the grandfather of economics. So Adam Smith, in his Wealth of Nations, again, this breakout seminal book, talked about this thing called the invisible hand. Has anybody heard of the invisible hand before? Maybe in history class? Nope, cool. All right, new stuff. So the invisible hand is the concept that individuals' self-interested behavior can lead to positive social outcomes. So what is he meaning by this? Well, he's saying that, consumers are going to encourage businesses to offer goods and services that meet the consumer's needs, and that it's possible that a broader social good can emerge from selfish individual actions. Therefore, self-interest in economics does not necessarily imply self-interest in all aspects of life. That'll do it for Chapter 2. I will see you all here on Tuesday, where we'll dive into Chapter 3, and we'll have a Kahoot quiz on Chapter 2. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Send me emails with any questions. Thank you so much.